friend that went to Cal State Long Beach. She was 20 years old. She was killed by a drunk driver. She was coming home from a party in Pomona. Some friends offered her a ride, so she went with them. And then there was a guy on the 57 freeway, and he was going about 100 miles an hour, and he just completely crashed into them. His blood alcohol level was 3 times what it's supposed to be. So today I want to lead you through the process of being charged with a DUI. According to the reports of the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, it states that over 1.6 million drivers were arrested in 2011 for DUI. Most of the criminal cases that go on are DUI offenses. Okay. So basically, we know that we shouldn't be driving under the influence or taking any medicines when we're driving a car. If you're under the influence, that means that your alcohol level is greater than 0.08%. And it means that you're too intoxicated to safely operate an automobile. When you get charged with a DUI offense, there's 2 different offenses, an A and a B count. One of them is for being higher than the limit, and the other one is for actually driving and being over the limit. So when you're stopped right away, there's a sobriety test that happens. Basically, the cop will ask you if you drank and then ask you to get out of the vehicle and perform some tests. So after you perform the test, you have a breathalyzer on the scene. If it's higher than 0.08, they'll arrest you, take you down to jail, and then you'll have another test there where you get to pick whether it's blood, urine, or another breathalyzer. Usually left there for a couple hours till you sober up, and then someone can pick you up. So that's usually what happens right at the scene. So this is just some information. Okay, so there's 5 different steps. The first step is the DMV hearing. Right when you get pulled over, they take away your license. You have 10 days to call the DMV, set up an appointment, and then you'll have your license for 30 days. After the 30 days is over, you won't have a license. So that's why this is a very important step. At the DMV hearing is when they decide if you're really drinking at the time, if you're the one driving the vehicle, and that if the police officer confronted you lawfully. So this is where you have a chance to get your license back. Usually when you get a DUI, you don't win these cases. It's very rare. The second step is the arraignment, which is the first court date. When you get your DUI, on the citation, it'll say what court date and when to appear. Sometimes if you have an attorney, you don't have to appear. The attorney can appear for you. Also, at the arraignment is where we get the police report. We see what was going on. After you give your side, you kind of get the police side. So you get both sides of the arraignment. And then you get Exhibit A, which is the complaint. This is an actual complaint where they fill out some information with the court system. You guys can pass them around. So after all the information is given, that's when you set it up for a pretrial hearing. So at the pretrial hearing, this is where all the evidence is gathered at this point, so we come to a settlement and compromise. So basically, we give a plea, we negotiate for you. For any reason that your blood level is close to 0.08, we can argue for a wet reckless, which is not really a DUI, it's kind of a simpler version, where it doesn't go on your record. As a DUI, it counts as 2 points. For your insurance, goes up a little bit, but it's better than having an actual DUI. So the fourth step usually never happens. Only 5% of criminal cases ever go to jury or go to trial. If for any reason that you have a very complicated case, goes this route, it's very expensive if you decide to do that, and all 12 jurors have to come to the same agreement. Okay, so this is after the trial. If you're considered not guilty, the records will completely be erased. They won't even be on your criminal record. Just notify the DMV, insurance, and your employer. The attorney or the judge can send letters for you guys. If you're considered guilty, you have to take DUI education classes. You can be placed on probation. You'll have to pay fines, and it'll be on your criminal record for at least 5 years. In some states, it stays up to 20 years. Okay, so I have a little thing for you guys. What forms of distracted driving is considered a felony? You guys can spell it.
Drunk driving.
Drunk driving. On average, how many people are killed in accidents involving drunk driving each year?
C.
We haven't gone over this. This is just like a random question.
17,000.
10.
The 1 over 15.
Get up.
108.
Put the wrong letter there.
Okay. Let's finish up.
So Jessica, what did you think? Jessica's not here, is she? All right, just a second. All right, well, you've got a dramatic example to start with, but your delivery of it seems a little bit off, sort of like it's so far in the past and you're so subdued in talking about it that I'm not really sure that it had much impact on you and that it's really motivated you to talk about this. And the transition to the thesis felt a little bit awkward also because the subject matter seems to be going in almost a proportionally different direction from the perspective of what you would expect if you were in this situation as opposed to what a victim might expect. The goal that you have, I think, is pretty clearly set up, but there's not really a preview of what the content is going to be. Now, it's not too hard to figure out how things are going to develop because you are following a chronological structure in the process of being arrested and charged and going through the procedures on a DUI. So I wasn't really quite sure why we didn't get a preview of what those steps were. You said there are 5 of them, and you do signpost them when you get to them, but you're mostly using the visuals to do the signposting. And then there's a lot of information that's contained on each of your visuals that really doesn't get much explanation. Sometimes you read some of the points, but you don't always talk about them very clearly. And I thought that you needed to have some examples and illustrations to make those points a lot more effective. There also should have been some additional content. Gesundheit. You're presenting a bunch of factual data about what the procedure is, but you're not doing much to make it interesting, personal, something that is particularly compelling. At the end, when you're using the questions, you're trying to get people engaged a little bit. I thought you rushed those sorts of things, and you don't really talk about that content, so why it's there is not quite clear. Let me see, there was something else I was going to talk about. No, that wasn't it. Oh, also on the visual materials, you're not going to like it. I didn't see whatever the visual is that you handed out. I told people not to hand stuff out, and there's